Hello, good afternoon, good day, good morning, good evening, good lunch. No one says that, but hello, I am Uncle Scotty, your host for Storytime with Uncle Scotty. We have our own mugs. And well, first of all, as you can tell, we're back on the squeaky couch. We were sitting over there in front of some other books that we were reading. Now we have books here. A little secret, someone else is sitting over there right now. We cannot reveal who they are. I don't know if they're going to be making an appearance or not. I can't speak to that. But what I do know is that we have been reading The Buried Bones Mystery by Sharon M. Draper, a Coretta Scott King award-winning author, about a group of young spies named the Black Dinosaurs. And that is Ziggy, of course, Rico, Rashawn, and Jerome. And last time, we had a very exciting chapter where everybody bought their treasures. Everybody brought their treasures. They revealed their treasures, and they wanted to bury their treasures. And when they were burying their treasures, they hit another box, hidden under the ground. And they brought that box up, and it was full of what? Bones, buried bones. And that's why this book is called The Buried Bones Mystery. And I am so curious what's happened. So what had happened is all the boys went back home, and they said, find clues. Ziggy was like, find clues like we're in the FBI. And I think Rashawn had some clues. Yep, Rashawn got some clues from his dad, who's a police officer. And now we're going to see what happens next. Chapter 7. Jerome sat on his porch and watched his sisters as they quietly took turns braiding each other's hair. He didn't really mind watching them today because he had a lot to think about. Where did those bones come from? What should they do with them? Would they get into trouble for not telling anybody what they found? And how was he going to get any clues? Maybe Granny will know something, he thought. She's lived in this neighborhood all her life. Just then, Tamika and LaTanya started to argue. It's my turn to play with the black Barbie. Nuh-uh, you had her yesterday. Jerome, she won't let me see the black Barbie. Jerome couldn't understand why Granny didn't just buy 2 of everything and save him the trouble of listening to them argue. But he told them, Tamika, why don't you just get the crayons out and color all the Barbies in the coloring book any color you want? LaTanya, you play with the black Barbie for a while, then let Tamika see her, okay? The girl seemed satisfied for the moment, and Jerome was glad to see Granny getting off the bus at the corner. Because remember, Jerome has to babysit when Granny is away. And he doesn't really like that because he'd rather be hanging out with his boys. Granny, want to see the picture I colored? Tamika yelled from the porch. That's real pretty, baby, said Granny as she climbed the steps and sat down at the porch swing. Jerome, bring Granny a glass of ice water, please. Tamika, LaTanya, it's nap time. Go in there and lie down for a few minutes. I feel like my parents should say that. It's like, it's nap time. Just go lie down for a few minutes. It's like, just get out of here. Just get out of here. That's how they talk to me. But Granny, we're not even sleepy. That's what I said. Protested Tamika, who was 6 and thought she was too old to have to take a nap. You don't have to sleep, child. Just lie down for 5 minutes with your eyes closed, okay? That's what I just said. Just lie down for 5 minutes with your eyes closed, okay? After the girls went inside, still mumbling about not being sleepy, Jerome said, You know, Granny, one day they won't fall for that trick and they'll stay awake, and then you'll have to listen to them all afternoon. Granny chuckled. I know, child. You're a good boy to help me with them like you do. You're growing up, and I'm real proud of you. Jerome smiled. Granny didn't toss out compliments very often. Can I ask you something, Granny? Sure, child. You've lived around here for a long time, haven't you? Now you know that. I was born in that house where your friend Ziggy lives now. Then when I married your grandpa, we moved over here. Your mama was born here in this house, and so were you. Did you ever hear about any mysteries when you were little, Granny? The old people always told spooky stories about ghosts and things like that, but I don't remember any mysteries, except for, well, that was different. What, Granny? Tell me. It's nothing really, and it probably isn't even true. Tell me, please. Well, when I was a little girl, living in your friend Ziggy's house, there was a tall fence around the backyard. That one you made your clubhouse out of. It was taller than we were and only had one gate, which was always locked, so we didn't have to think about what was on the other side. When Granny mentioned the fence, Jerome shivered a little bit. Maybe he was going to get a clue after all. Did you ever find out? Yes, but Sometimes not knowing the truth is better. What do you mean, Granny? On the other side of the fence was a graveyard, Granny whispered. But, Granny, said Jerome, trying to hide the shakiness in his voice, there's an apartment building and a parking lot there now. Yes, child. They built that more than 50 years ago, when I was just about the age you are now. Some folks tried to complain, but the builders just ignored them and put that apartment complex right over the graveyard. Do you think there's ghosts over there, Granny? Asked Jerome. Suddenly, the warm summer air felt chilly. I don't know, but I do know that when I was about 10 or 11, I used to hear old folks whisper stuff about boxes of bones. It scared me, so I never asked any questions. Granny, what did they... That's enough for this now. You make me feel cloudy on a sunny day. I don't want to talk about that stuff anymore. She went into the house to check on the girls, and Jerome sat on the porch shivering. What had they found? He couldn't sit there alone any longer, so he yelled through the screen door to Granny that he was going to go over to Rico's house. Jerome thought Rico's mom acted like the mother on that old TV show, Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver was an old black and white TV show, I think set in the 1950s. And the Beavers, well, they're Cleavers. It was the Cleaver family, and the youngest boy was Beaver Cleaver. That's what they called him, I think. And the mom, very trim and proper. Everything was very neat in her house, very nice, very simple. So the Cleavers are seen as sort of being this very, what would you say, polite family from the 1950s. So Rico's mom, Jerome thinks, acts like the mom from Leave It to Beaver. She never had her hair in curlers, never had a dirty kitchen, and never ate pizza. Never ate pizza? How fun is that? Not much fun. I had pizza last night for dinner. True story. I made it myself. With that person. Okay, focus on the story. She never ate pizza. But even though she was what Ziggy called a neat freak, she was always willing to drive the four friends wherever they needed to go. She and Rico were just pulling out of the driveway when he got there. Hello, Jerome. Rico asked me to take him to the library. All of a sudden, he has an interest in bones. Dinosaur bones, he says. Do you want to come along? Yes, ma'am, replied Jerome as he hopped into the back seat. He knew what Rico was up to. Any clues? Rico whispered to Jerome. You won't believe it, Jerome whispered back. Just wait till I tell you. Rico's mother dropped them off at the library and told them she'd be back in an hour. Rico went straight to the information desk. Do you have any books on bones? Bones? Said the tired-looking librarian over her glasses. Bones? What kind of bones? Oh, dinosaur bones, chicken bones, pork chop bones, and human bones, Rico said with a nervous grin. Try science fiction, over there. There to your left, third shelf down. Jerome and Rico hurried over and found exactly what they needed. 3 books on human, animal, and dinosaur bone structure. They put the dinosaur book on the top of the pile and walked quickly to the checkout desk, bumping the old man in front of them in the line and making him drop his large stack of books. You kids watch where you're going, he said with a growl. This is a library, not a zoo. Sorry, Mr. Green, said Jerome as they helped him pick up his books. We didn't see you. Well, the last time I checked in the mirror, I wasn't invisible, Mr. Green snapped at them. But I may as well be for anybody cares, he mumbled to himself. Poor Mr. Green. Oh, here's a picture of Mr. Green, who dropped his books. See what books Mr. Green's looking at. So Mr. Green has a human anatomy book, and there's some bones books. And this looks like an atlas. Oh, Mr. Green has an atlas of the Ohio River. It's like a map book and some other things in there. Okay. Rico and Jerome didn't know what else to say, so they apologized again, checked out their books, and waited in front of the library for Rico's mom to pick them up. Did you see the books that Mr. Green was checking out? Asked Jerome. Yeah, kind of weird. They were all on cemeteries and stuff. Those must be other books. Oh yeah, there's one. Maybe some cemetery books too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all on cemeteries and stuff. Here comes my mom. Let's get out of here. As Rico's mom drove them back home, they sat in the back seat, turning the pages of one of the books they had checked out, looking at the pictures, then quietly looking at each other. They were scared. The book in their hands was called Bones of the Human Body. And we will find out what happens next. Next time on Storytime with Uncle Scotty. I have been your host, Uncle Scotty. We have our own mugs. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time to get to the bottom of this mystery. The very most mystery. Okay. Bye.